Welcome everyone to tonight's, I guess you could call it training. What I will not do is go into all of the nuances of running a full-fledged consulting practice or business. That's not what this is designed for. We would be here for hours, or it would take multiple weeks for me to cover every little detail of running a consulting practice. But what I am going to do, this is all about generating income from consulting, because I know that there are a few people who are making transitions or resetting or reinventing themselves. And I'm a firm believer, we've mentioned it on the last few office hours and mastermind, that it's important that those of us who are in that position making the transition or starting over, reinventing themselves, begin to find a model or something that they can begin to generate income from quickly. And to be quite honest with you, the two models that are probably the most advantageous to generating income quickly, making connections quickly, is coaching and consulting, right? It's the coaching and consulting model, because it's something that you can literally do within the next, 10, 12 hours and have a client generating some income. But then of course you just wash and repeat. And then you become more sophisticated in the business dynamics of how you generate the leads, how you start, developing packages and all of that good stuff. But I don't want to go there as of yet. I mean, maybe we can do that at another time. Maybe that'll be a part of the regular training as we go forward. Maybe we'll just carve out some time, or this is one of the trainings that I taught when I was teaching the consulting model, when I mentioned to you all that we made the, what was it, 105,000? I can't even remember, whatever it was with 7 clients. This is the model. By consulting with those individuals and helping them to develop their platform and build out their consulting business. And so by doing that, they paid me $15,000 each, and there was 7 of them. So that was like, I think it's 105,000. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but as you can see, that was a very lucrative model. Obviously, I've had some experience and some positioning and all of those things on my side to kind of do that type of transaction in a weekend. But the point is that each and every one of us have a sphere of influence or connections or relationships where we can generate some income. It don't have to be 6 figures. It doesn't have to be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, but it can be something to begin to get started. How about, through 3,000 a month, 4,000 a month, something like that, that could really begin to cement you in your entrepreneurial journey where you don't have to worry about it. So with that said, that's what this is for. And I just want to make sure that's my disclaimer. I don't want anyone to think that this is the full scope of the consulting business model, but this is a way for you to begin to generate income. And I'll be honest with you, I just did this for a long time and I coached others to just do this. They're not interested in the big business and all of that type of stuff. Say, Brother Bedford, show me how to make $10,000 a month, just picking up 1 or 2 coaching clients or consulting clients a month, then I'm good. And they were, and they still are, and they're still doing the same thing. And so that's what this is for. We're going to be very, I don't want to say quick. I'm going to be, but we're not going to be all night. I'm probably going to go over this for about 40, 45 minutes. What it is that you need to know in this particular, I guess you would say, strategy. Yeah, we can call it a strategy of how to generate the income with the consulting model. And then we'll leave 10 to 15 minutes for questions. And I think if we keep it tight like that, I won't get distracted. I won't start talking about all of the other beautiful things with it. And then we start going down this rabbit hole. I want to keep it tight and focused tonight. All right. So I'm putting it out there so you can help me. So you can help me make sure that we stay focused. So that's my disclaimer. And just really this consulting thing, it's really all about mindset. Really all of this entrepreneurship and business, everything we do is all about mindset. But really, as it relates to consulting, it's really about how you really think about business and entrepreneurship and how to generate income. And for a lot of us, the reason this sometimes seems foreign or we overcomplicate this is because the view that we've had of consulting, I know, at least for myself, when I first heard it and I was actually introduced to this model, my mind automatically defaulted to New York City, skyscrapers, bunch of white guys sitting up in office buildings. Those were the consultants. There's no way that they could just be consultants like us, wearing a sweatshirt or sitting at home on a computer. So a lot of us still try to either begin that way, where we think we have to have all of this technology, computers, or we need to be working with a company, an S Corp or C Corp in downtown, whatever city you're in, New York, and nothing can be further from the truth. Nothing can be further from the truth. And so I want to make sure that we really understand that the mindset is critical. And there's really only two things that you need to make sure that you bear hug and truly embrace if you want to be successful in this. And you need to write this one down. I'm actually going to put the notes and everything that I'm going to cover up under this were a few things like an overview so that you can have even some of the scripting that I'm going to talk about. So you'll have that, but I still want you to kind of take notes, because nothing beats, your own handwriting and imprinting this on your own mind. So there's really only two things. Let me go one before I give you the two things that's necessary. There's one other thing that I need you to make sure that you get about this consulting thing. One is the mindset, but the other is implementation. The reason that most people, and really you can say it in business or entrepreneurship period, do not begin to generate the income in these areas is because they just won't implement. I mean, I could probably ask you all right now to raise your hands, and you could tell me all of the books, all of the courses, all of the coaches, and everybody that you probably dealt with, but then there was something that was missing. But then if I dig a little deeper, you said, but you know what, I didn't really do what they said, or I really didn't implement what the course said. Or we'll take what was shared in a course or a training, then we got to put our own little spin on it too soon. We just won't implement what was said. And I'm guilty of that as well. I mean, I've gotten stuff and tried to change it up even before I even tested it to see if what I was learning would work. And so implementation is critically important. And so if you develop this mindset that you can be successful in this industry, you don't have to worry about being this, again, sitting in an office tower in downtown, whatever city you're in, or people even viewing you that way. Once you kind of embrace and bear hug the fact that you really only need two things. Number one, you just really want to help people. If you want to help people, you already have the knowledge. And I'm just looking at all of the faces here, and I'm sure, Lynette, we've already talked. Some of you have been in industries, worked with companies 20, 25, 30, 40 years. 10 years is enough. So you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you have the expertise. So once you have all of that, now the next thing is that you just have to have the desire to help people. What made me really gravitate to this model is that once I realized that consulting is nothing more than helping people, helping your clients achieve a desired result. And if you can keep that as your base, and I'm trying to help, I'm trying to serve, you'll be perfectly fine. The other thing is the willingness to ask for the sale. That's that hurdle. That's the brick wall we run into. Yeah, Brother Bedford, yeah, I do want to help people. I want to help a whole bunch of people. But then you get on the phone and then something happens where you don't ask for the sale. You don't go for the close. Now I'm hoping to alleviate that anxiety tonight, because really selling the way that you see on the internet, all of that stuff, all of this high price selling, this, NLP language and all of that, which is important. It has its place. but it's not absolutely necessary for you to begin to generate income using this model. So let me just go over that real quick. Again, mindset and implementation. If you do that, you're going to be more than fine. The two things that are required: you already have the knowledge, you already have the experience and the expertise in whatever category or niche that you're in. So the two things that are required is that you have the desire, a strong desire to help people, and the willingness to ask for the sale. That's really all you need. And so everything else that I'm about to give you now is just filler. All of this other stuff is just filler. All right. So you don't need any fancy technology. I think we covered that before. You don't need a big email list. So get that out of your head for this model. Now again, everything that you've learned in terms of internet marketing, I'm getting ready to shock you, coming from an internet marketer. Everything that you've learned or that you hear that is successful in the space of internet marketing, it doesn't work as a consultant. That's why people really run into a brick wall, because you're trying to create lead magnets and do all of these different things that in the internet space is perfectly okay. And in fact, in most cases, it's required to have a list of 1,000 people, 2,000, an email list of 1,000 people, 2,000 people. It's required to have Facebook profile, LinkedIn profile, Twitter, and all of these types of things, because you're building up a personal brand to either sell a course and all of that type of stuff. But if you're trying to generate income from consulting, you don't need all that. So you don't need a big email list. You don't have to worry about all of the technology. So you don't have to ask me about Kajabi, Constant Contact. All of that type of stuff is irrelevant at this point. You don't need a team, right? So of course, when we're talking about building businesses, and especially when we're talking about in the internet space, one of the things that I share with you all, and it's in this training, that's why I want to make sure that we kind of make the distinction between the two things that we're talking about, is that it's required. If you're going to build a sustainable business, be in this space, whether it's a virtual business or a mastermind group and all of those things, it's important that at some point, if you want to continue to scale and grow, you have to start thinking about team members, people that can come in and help you with all types of areas of your business where they're strong and you're weak, or it's their area of expertise and it's not yours, and you're working in your unique gift, your unique talent, your unique skill and gift. All of that is fine and dandy. But in this space, just starting generating income, you don't need a team. So I don't want you even thinking about that right now, not in this model right here. And obviously you don't need to be a consultant for many, many years. So you don't need that type of experience to get started. All you need is what I just said, a desire to help people and a willingness to ask for the sale. And so now we're getting ready to get into it. We've been saying this all along. Here's probably the #1 lead generating tool that you need right now. This is it, your phone. If you go through your phone, matter of fact, let me just give you some steps. #1, and you've been going through this already, Lynette. So let's talk about generating the leads for your consulting or generating your income. The first thing you need to do is get you a pen and a pad like this, or a notebook. Get your phone. You can set, the way that we used to do it when I first got started, and it did work, but then, after a while, when I just had the desire to do it without worrying about, artificial deadlines or timers, it didn't matter as much. But for instance, if you need to, set it on, get you a timer and set it on 20 minutes if you need to, or 30 minutes, kind of keep you on point. You can put that timer on your computer, alarm clock, I don't care, microwave, whatever it is. Just give yourself a time frame, block out some time, 20 to 30 minutes, where you just scroll through your phone for all of the people, and with primarily your business contacts. Now, it doesn't have to be business contacts, but let's just, for the sake of thinking about your niche or your industry, I want you to scroll through the phone, through the people that you've texted or had communications with over the past, let's just say for the past few months to 24 months, meaning back past the beginning of COVID. I'm sure you've texted a lot of people that had challenges and issues back and forth during 2020. I know I did. I just did this exercise myself, and I pulled up around 70 people that I was exchanging text messages with about what are they doing? They're asking me, what am I doing during all of these different scenarios that surfaced during 2020. These are the people that were asking questions or they needed help. So I want you to go through that and write all of those names down, especially the ones that you knew that you were supposed to follow up with and you didn't, that you connected with and you said, ooh, this is a good contact. Ooh, we had a great conversation. But then all of a sudden you say, I'm gonna get with them next week. Nothing happened. Then I'm gonna get with them next week and nothing happened. Then a month went by, 2 months. And what? Now I'm giving you the permission to go back through your phone, the people that you know you're supposed to follow up with and you didn't, the people that you know that need your help. I want you to write all of these names down, and then what we want to do is score these names. Let's just say 10 being the highest. A 10 meaning that that's a person that has a problem that you can serve or that you can solve. They probably have money, and it's probably someone that you really want to work with. That person is a 10. Now maybe they're a little lower than that. Maybe they're 7 or 8. So I would say you really want to find all of the 7s and the 8s, right? And then of course, on the low scale, the 0s and the 1s are the people that you definitely don't want to work with. The people who probably do have a problem, but you ain't interested in solving it. You really don't want to spend a lot of time with them. And then really the chief characteristic or the chief trait is that they don't have any money. So therefore, you know that they're not, they probably could be a good coffee buddy, but they're not the person that you want to contact throughout this exercise. So I want you to write those names down until that timer ends, right? So just start going through your phone for 30 minutes. If you're really serious, 60 minutes. I would say for myself, I just took the timer off and I just take a day. And I ended up with about 107 names. Now, what you got to do is once you got those 107 names or whatever those numbers are for you. Now, here, let me put this point right here now, because with this model, the reason you don't need to all of the technology, the reason you don't need to know about constant contact, the reason you don't need to build a large email list is because you can literally generate tens. I've even given you an example of 100,000, 6 figures, with just a handful of people. You don't need a lot of people or a lot of clients when you're in the consulting model. It's even better if you only have a few that are paying you every month. I used to ask people all the time, would you rather be out chasing leads, paying for Facebook ads, doing all that, or would you just rather have 5 clients paying you $10,000 or $500 a month? That's pretty good, right? I'd be asking you, what are you doing with the rest of your time? You got these 5 people that you're servicing and you're satisfying and it's fulfilling, and then you don't have to worry about all of the time constraints of again, lead generation, product or service fulfillment. You just need them. So again, small number of people, not a lot of people are necessary in order for you to make a lot of money. So now that we have these names, now I want to give you what's called the strategy to begin to connect with them, right? First, you got to start engaging with them. The last thing you want to do is text someone and say, hey, so-and-so, I need you to buy my product. That's not going to get it. In fact, you want to repel money, appear to be desperate. That screams desperation. So what we want to do is just start connecting with them, engaging with them. And so the first thing you want to do is what we call micro commitments or micro engagements. Here's what I would do. After I've pulled up all of you in my phone, and I wrote down the scores of how excited I would be to work with you and all of those things that I talked about. Ability, one, they got money, a problem that you can solve, and somebody that you want to work with. You really want to make sure that you have that mix. You want that mix. You want to work with them. Trust me. I've seen it. I still see it to this day of people that I've worked with, and the desire to get into the big high ticket space most people don't realize that when you get into the high ticket space, there's a demand that comes from those clients as well, whether it's warranted or not. Sometimes it's just them tripping, but trust me, when you think about yourself, you're not going to pay $5, $10, $15,000 to someone and then you never hear from them. You know, they don't give you nothing. You know, you start, if they don't hit you back in the first week, you start getting nervous. You're like, uh-oh, somebody, what's going on here, right? So the flip side is true that when you get into the high ticket space, if you have people that kind of behave like that, need a lot of hand holding, a lot of attention and things like that, if you're not ready for that, and if you don't want to do that, you don't want to get into those types of agreements. So I say all that again, just to say, be careful of saying, okay, Brother Bedford, I want to do this and I want to get these high ticket clients. That means you got a lot of work to do to make them happy. The higher the ticket, the more of the outcome and the result they should be getting from your involvement in the process with them. So you want to start engaging them on small things. And we're going to talk about some foot in the door strategies towards the end. So here's what I would do for the first micro engagement. How you doing, Nadine? You didn't miss a lot. We're just really getting started on the phone. I just mentioned to everyone to make sure you pull out your phone, start going through getting the names. Now, here's the other thing. This also works with LinkedIn and Facebook. So if you got friends on Facebook or you're in Facebook groups that have your audience, or if you have, like I know a few of you have started on LinkedIn, this works there where you can just get into their inbox or direct message them. And I would say something like, hey, Lynette, just checking in. Do you need anything from me today? Right? Now, remember, this is a text. So what has to happen? I'm going to be watching those 3 dots to see if Lynette is responding, right? Now, if Lynette doesn't respond, then obviously I got to continue to go down the list, right? Maybe she don't know who I am. And then in that case, I didn't want to go too far down this line because, again, I don't want to get into a lot of the stuff that you can do. I want to keep this as simple as possible. But for instance, if it's Lynette and myself, or let's just say like you all were at the selfie bar. If you've met someone at a conference or in a Facebook group, or you've had some type of interaction with them in the past, you can always text them and send them that picture of yourself. Hey, Lynette, this is Brother Bedford. We met at the Power Network Conference. Here's a picture of us. Just checking in to see if you need anything from me today. All right. So then now Lynette sees a picture. Oh, I remember him from the conference. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that guy. That's what he does. Okay. So, and I told you, my experience, either they lying or you just piquing their interest. It's almost, I would say 60 to 70% of the people that I text like that, they respond with, I was just thinking about you. You know, I was just talking to Anitra about you. We were, and I'm like, you just think good. So then either they're lying, or again, they need your services, but they haven't found a way to reach out to you, or they're just surveying the different types of people who could probably help them. So I would say, hey, Lynette, just checking in. Do you need anything from me today? Now, if Lynette says, hey, thanks for checking in, Brother Bedford. And again, all of these will be posted, these questions, this scripting, and I'll probably add some more scripting up under this training so that you'll have it. And all you need to do is copy and paste, change your name out, just keep it real simple. So I want to make sure it's crystal clear that you can just take exactly what I'm saying. This works. And you can text someone saying, hey, so-and-so, just checking in. Do you need anything from me today? And then 9 times out of 10, as I just mentioned, they're either going to say, they was just thinking about you, or they're going to say no. Or they're going to say, who the hell is this, right? Who are you? That's probably when you got to remind them, this is Lynette, and we met at such and such. Oh, hey, how you doing, Lynette? I don't know, what you got in mind, or something like that. Then you can remind them, are you still interested in whatever the result is that they were looking for, whatever the promise was that they were looking for? Are you still interested in this? And in my case, let me just use myself as an example so that it's crystal clear. When we were building out those platforms and I just started texting people, and I had 3 to 4 different packages. Now we'll talk about packages if you want to, but this, again, I didn't want this to get into you creating packages. I want you to take your unique experience that you already have, begin to generate income, and then you can begin to think about packages that you can put together. And in my case, for some of the people, even Margot, in the earlier stages with Margot, she just wanted a podcast, right? So then I would say, are you still interested in starting your own podcast? Yeah, just don't know where to start, right? Oh, okay. Well, I got an idea for you. So then that would be the next thing. Hey, Lynette, you know what? If you're still interested, I got an idea that may be able to grow your business, right? Or and I want you to think about whatever niche or category in a category that you're in. If you help people make money, I got an idea that maybe help you make money. I got an idea to maybe make your social media marketing better. I got an idea to make your IT systems work better. Whatever your idea is, people want to hear about the ideas. I got an idea that you may want to hear about. Now, as soon as they start responding, now you know you got their attention, which is the hardest thing to get today. Really, that's what we're vying for in these internet streets or in the world of virtual, even in just business period. People are so bombarded with advertisement, with just noise, that if you can get their attention for a few seconds, you've won the battle. But now that you got their attention, now you got to get them interested. That's why I say you want to follow up with whatever they're desirous of, whatever that outcome or result that they were looking for when you met them, or just in any engagement with them. You want to make sure that you put that up there first. Are you still interested in doing your book? And in my case, I did books, podcasts, or help them to build their platforms. And they would say, yeah, I am interested. Then I said, well, you know what? I just got off a call. Make sure you type this down because we're still texting. I just got off a call. I got 5 minutes before my next call. Would you like to get on and talk about it real quick? Or I can shoot you a 1-minute video and send you a 1-minute video telling you what I have in mind. Now, I want you to think about what I just did there. When you hear that I got 5 minutes before my next call, what did you hear? Anybody, real quick, respond. Anybody? What did you hear when if someone tells you I got 5 minutes for my next call, what are you hearing?
I have time.
Got time? Anything else?
But I'm limited to my time.
Limited to your time? Anything else?
I'm creating that sense of urgency to get on this phone call because I ain't got about 5 minutes for you.
Okay, sense of urgency. Anybody? What about you? What about you, Jeanette? Would you hear anything?
I'm busy.
That's one way. One, I am busy. It shows that I am active, right? That's really not the primary goal. One, yeah, you do want to create a sense of urgency. That's not bad. Anitra, thank you for that. But here's the other thing that's really important, that I'm not going to take up all of your time. So think about it. If I just text you out to clear blue sky and we started engaging with each other, Anitra, then I say, oh, I got a great idea. You ready to get on the phone now? And you like, oh, how long is this going to take? You already know you're getting ready to get a sales pitch, right? But if I say I only got 5 minutes, right? You say, okay, well then, okay, I can hear what he or she has to say for a quick 3 to 5 minutes. And if it's something good, then they'll probably want to set up a follow-up call, right? Now that's one thing. And if they don't have time, what's the other thing that I did? I said, or I can shoot you a quick 1-minute video and send it to you, sharing my idea. All right. So that even lets them know, okay, I can either get on the phone with Anitra real quick for 5 minutes, or no, I don't really have time right now. Just go ahead and send me the video. And then now you're already programming them. This is not a long sales pitch. You're just going to shoot a 1-minute video, and I'm going to advise you, as tempting as it's going to be to put on your makeup, get your hair done, and sit up in front of the Zoom and all of that type of stuff and get your angles right. I'm just going to advise you to pull out your phone and say, hey, Anitra, how you doing? Yep, I got an idea for you for getting your book done in the next 30 days. I got a process where I could interview you and ask you a series of questions, and then we can get that transcribed. And then we can send that over to Fiverr.com or Rev.com, get it transcribed, and then we can get it edited. And now you have your book. You want to talk about this a little bit more? That was even less than a minute, right? So you see how we want to make sure that in our initial consulting interactions with our prospects is that it's not a huge deal. I think, when I was talking to Lynette last week, I think sometimes we go after the big deals too soon when we need to just be getting in the door. And the way to get in the door was something that you can deliver on quickly. And remember, everything I just said, I can deliver on. Right now, I could help every single body on this Zoom right now write a book. in a weekend. I can interview you, Jeanette. I can interview you. I can interview you, Nadine. And then we can just get it transcribed. And then we got to get it edited and we got the book done. And in fact, I just gave y'all an idea on what y'all can offer somebody, right? So these are just money-making strategy all over the place, right? That was a big money maker for me. I haven't done that lately, right? Because you can see a lot of people writing books and getting book publishing and book coaching and all of that type of stuff. But for me, especially dealing with business people, we were dealing with nonfiction books and we didn't have to worry about all of that. So I can interview them about, like Lynette, I could ask you to 10, same stuff that I've already asked you to do, Lynette, with Anitra and Cheryl, is that they interview you, ask you 10 questions. What are the 10 things that people should know about the industry, should ask questions, or it's things that they should know. And then that's how you come up with content. I don't want to get too far off the path, but my point was, you see how I did that on the phone? And then I just send them the video, 60-second video. And then that's when the magic starts happening. So now you've started to re-engage them. Now you're building trust because you're keeping your word. It's either going to be a 5-minute conversation or less, and you're just going to share the idea. You don't even want to get into, see that most start getting all sophisticated. Well, let's see what we can do with your business. No, you keep it real simple. I got an idea that can help you go from A to Z. And here's the beautiful part. Once you help them go from A to Z, they're going to ask you, can we continue to work together? What else you got? Or you'll find ways to say, you know what? We got the book done, but you know what really helped this book go? I'm giving you all like my earlier business. You can do a podcast, and then you need to interview successful people. And then here's the beautiful part. I did it, right? So I'm able to show them exactly what I did. Well, who can I interview? Well, I interviewed successful Black millionaires. So, I mean, you may not be able to get millionaires, but we can get thought leaders or experts in your industry, and they can come on your show and you can do a podcast, and then that helps your profile grow. So you interview them. And here's the best part. Now you can take the content from the interviews and now you can begin to disseminate that, and people start seeing you as an expert or an authority, and you're interviewing experts in your niche. So that helps your business grow. That helps your company grow. That helps your real estate company grow. These are just the tools that I was using for different people. But as you can see, it's one or two things, mainly one, that leads to the second thing every time. And that's how we begin to generate revenues fast. So let me keep going real quick, and then I'm gonna open it up for your questions. Before we get to some of the questions, I know one might be on there. The same thing we just talked about with the text. Can't you send a video on Facebook, and Facebook Messenger? Same thing, it works with Facebook Messenger. Hey, so-and-so, I noticed that you're doing something. Same process we just went through. If you don't know them, obviously you got to reintroduce again. So you go back to the beginning if you don't know, but if you know them and they know you, hey, I got an idea that may be able to help your business grow. It's even better if you can get specific. From my vantage point, I usually tell people, even like what I'm telling you now, I could have said, hey, well, let's get on this consulting call because I got an idea for all of you that could generate an extra $3,000 to $5,000 every month. You'd be like, man, what is that idea, Brother Bedford? Okay, so then now we get on here and I show you how to pull out your phone or go through your Facebook Messenger and contact people, and you offer them, you consult, you help them with whatever challenge that they have that you can solve. Now, remember, this is that you can solve. That's always the caveat. I'm not saying just go, I'm just getting ready to help everybody and you have no expertise. Now, there's a way for you to do that, but I'm not advising that now. We're definitely not advising that now. All right, but this works on Facebook. This also works on LinkedIn. Can't you send a video through LinkedIn? So you see how the key is the engagement. The key is the follow-up, is starting these conversations. So here's what that activation, I already just gave you the first one. And all of these words are going to be here, but let me just give you some of the scripts that I've written before that have gotten me these deals before. And I did put your name in here, Lynette, because I just wanted to drill this home to you. So your name is being used in place of all of the other names. I'm like, hi, Lynette. When we met at the Power Networking Conference, you mentioned the challenge that you were having closing prospects and leads for your IT business. I have a solution that will work for you. The system is being used by hundreds of entrepreneurs to make $3,000 to $5,000 every month. I've used it to secure over $100,000 with less than 10 clients. Based on what I know about your business, I believe you'll be able to secure one new client in the next 30 days with this system. Everything that I just told, I'm confident each and every one of you can get off of here and get a client within the next 30 days. In fact, after what I'm just telling you now, you probably should be like, man, that should be easy, right? After you get that list, and now you're alleviating the stress of saying, I need to build this gigantic email list. And you find that you have 20 people that have the money, that have a problem, and that you want to work with. You're going to find that there's money right there. And never make the mistake of saying that you think you know somebody and they don't have the money. The people who I thought didn't have any money were the ones who wrote the biggest checks. It'll shock you. The ones that you think got the money, those are the ones that start coming back in the inbox saying, you got a payment plan, or you got, can we work something out? But the persons who you think do not have the money because they're not out flossing, they don't have pictures of them in front of Rolls Royces and all of that. But if it's something that could make their lives better, they can easily write the checks for $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. I just don't want you to think that some of the people that you may know that's in your phone, you probably think that they won't do the work. You've just never given them a way to do business with. You've never given them this opportunity. And now all of a sudden, when you give the opportunity for them to work with you in this capacity, it just changes the relationship. The relationship before now has probably been another type of relationship. That happened with me. It was like night and day. It wasn't until people started seeing me in this entrepreneurial arena that the relationship changed, the conversations changed, the meetings changed. I'm giving you a way to kind of make sure that now you can take all of these people that you've been contacting or that has been contacting you. Now you change the communication and the relationship because now you have an idea. Remember that, Lynette, I got an idea that can help you protect your systems in your office or your company, whatever the language is for you. I'm just throwing ideas out there right now. The last part of that script, and again, you'll have this, it'll take less than 5 minutes to fill you in on the details. That's what I said earlier. I just got off the phone and I have 5 minutes before my next call. Well, right now, I didn't say this earlier, but I would ask, will right now work for you? You want to talk for this quick 5 minutes and then I can share the details of what I got in mind? And they can either say, no, I don't have time right now, because right after that, I'm going to say, or let me know and I'll send you a 1-minute video that describes everything you need to get started. And I kind of showed you exactly what I did. And then the other thing I want to do is about the close, because I know that's probably the challenge for a lot of people. Because now if Lynette says, yeah, I'm interested, Brother Bedford, that sounds good. I do want to know how to make X amount of dollars or write my book or start my podcast or set up my systems or whatever it is. Then I replying in that text or in that Facebook, I'm glad that you want to move forward. In this case, this was the name of the actual system that I sold for that 15th. So I'm literally giving you all what I've used. So I'm giving you the exact script. So at that time, it says the system I'm talking about is called Generating Income with Simple Consulting. It's a super simple text marketing campaign that includes the tools you need to capture, engage, and convert your leads directly into sales. Best of all, and in this case, remember what I said, when you're consulting, here's the difference between the coaching, you're telling people what to do. Consulting, you're helping people, you're doing it with them. In fact, the more you do with them, not for them. When you try to do it for them, that's almost, some people think done for you services. It only really works if you're talking to the right people. Because at some point, if you're talking to the wrong people and you're offering done for you services, for some reason, they tend to shift into you're their employee mode. And then all of a sudden your value goes down and then they try to treat you like, I don't know what it is about that. They start treating you like dirt. It's got to be something psychological. I haven't really delved into it, but just my experience, whenever I'm talking to someone and it's like I said that I'm doing it for them, the relationship changes almost if like they're just hiring me as a hired gun. And then they want to try to get me into rates and wages instead of paying me my consulting fee based upon results. And so I always make sure that they understand I'm doing this with you. I'm helping you to build your book. You and I are going to do this together. You and I are going to do this podcast together. You and I are going to build this mastermind together. You and I are going to be on this webinar or this Zoom together. I never say, at least not anymore. I've had a few bad experiences. I'm like, how in the hell did I get in this position? Well, I'm chasing them to do the work. and they paying me less, and that becomes, you're like, oh, I hate this. I can't, I'm chasing them to do the work for them, and they're not paying me what I'm worth. How many of you know what that feels like? To be chasing people that to do work for them, and then they paying you like, you know, like somebody using the bathroom very slow. You know, they do not want to make sure they don't. So you want to do all you can from the very beginning to change your positioning. Positioning is everything. Write that down. This kind of goes into really the base of the consulting practice business, but it's really the base of every business, especially where your personal brand is involved, your sales, your marketing, your conversion rates, everything goes up exponentially if you're positioned right. If your positioning is right, you'll close half of these deals without even trying, because people already want to work with you. So I don't want to get too far into the position, because that's a whole nother thing, because you got to create positioning. But in this case, when we're working with someone, make sure that your positioning is that you're working with them. And later on, in fact, position, I talk about positioning in depth in the marketing trainings. All you got to do is go to the marketing training, and I got a whole piece there on positioning. I'll talk about it a little bit more if you want in this regard, because as a consultant, for me right now, whenever I'm trying to do deals with people, I never lead with trying to do the consulting deal first. I always lead with all of the things that I've done, the work that I've done with George Frazier, the Power Networking Conference. So what am I doing? I'm improving my positioning so that they know that I have a track record. I've worked with some successful people. So now when we do get into the conversation, I can just simply say, well, what's in your budget? And we're not grappling over prices. We're not ducking and dodging each other, because I've already cemented my positioning in their mind. And sometimes I even tell people from the very beginning, well, you know, this is not going to be cheap. I said it very early on. Now, do you want to continue the conversation? And then if they want to continue, they kind of already know, okay, if I'm going to work with this brother, it's not going to be, we ain't talking about $3.99. You know, this is a different type. But it's up to you though to plant those seeds and create that positioning. So we'll talk about that another time. But for the sake of this, we're just talking about re-engaging people that are in your phone, people that you've worked with in the past, people that's in your Facebook groups, your LinkedIn groups, and you're trying to get some consulting deals closed quickly, which this is the perfect time. There are literally millions of people who need help with something. They need help with insurance, health, buying a house, selling a house, setting up a computer, you name it, graphics, podcasting, books. So the key is, what do you do that now you can use this strategy with the people that you know that need this, and you offer this to them. So this is the perfect time where people are looking for the help. So I said, generating income with simple consulting, a super simple text marketing campaign that includes the tools you need to capture, engage, convert your leads directly into sales. Best of all, I'll do the work. In this case, I was helping them. I said, I'll do the work with you and give you everything you need to begin. And you can get the system. And at this time, I used to have my own text messaging system. I say I can send them like stuff to fill in. You can get the full system by texting. I won't give you all the text number. It doesn't work anymore. And I would put that on there by saying, just text your name and email to 1-800 Brother Bedford. And then they would do that. And then I would automatically text them back with everything that they needed to get the deals done. And you know what else was included in that text? A payment link. It was an invoice. So it's like they got everything they needed. And then as looking at it, we've already gone over pricing, and it was like, okay, and it's done. That's how you get consulting clients quickly. So there's another one that I have that I'll give you the script, called the activation video. And it's the same thing. I met you at the Power Networking Conference. I got a couple examples. I won't read these because for the sake of time, you'll have these where you can read them for yourself. And I will put a couple more, probably not immediately, because I want to give you the scripting, the words that you need. What I'll do is I'm going to pick out a few. I'm trying to pick out the scripting for the scenarios that I think you may be involved in already. I don't want to, some of the other scenarios require proposals and things like that. So I didn't want to include all of that type of scripting because it's not necessary. I don't want you to even think about this stuff. That's why I didn't want to put it before you. I just want you to be able to begin to engage communicate, and ask for the sale. All right. Is there any questions at this moment? I'm looking at the clock. Any questions? Is that clear? Does it make sense? If it doesn't make sense, let me know so I can clarify. As you can see, this is a 3-step process. Simple consulting system. It's a 3-step process. First step, get the leads. We already talked about it. Just going through your phone, going through your emails. Maybe you already have an email database. Maybe you haven't even emailed them in years. Who knows? You have to re-engage them. I gave you some talking points on how to engage them, but that's first. Engage them, pique their interest, see if they're still interested. I already went through that. The next step, that was step number 1. Step number 2, we get the micro commitments. That's what the texting and the back and forth is. Have you ever heard, and if you haven't heard it, I'm going to tell you now, the best way to get, and we practice this when I talked earlier about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. One of the things to do if you start speaking from the stage, especially if you sell a package. Now I know Nadine, you speak, I know Anitra speak. I know you do some speaking, Melanie, do you do it like public speaking or is it just in groups, small groups?
More groups.
Okay. Lynette, have you started doing any speaking yet, public speaking? Not yet? You probably, I think you said you were scared to death. That's why this is perfect for people like you. We want to do things that fits our strengths. What about you, Jeanette? Do you do any public speaking?
I've done classroom training.
Classroom training? Okay, great. Well, the reason I asked is because when you're selling from the stage, one of the things that we were taught to do is to, if you can get audience shaking their head, yes, after certain points, when you finally get to the close, they've made commitments by either bearing you witness, as we would say in the church, bearing witness. Amen. They bow their head, they're saying yes. So then when it's time to pass the collection plate, it's like, okay, I almost feel obligated to put something in there because I done bowed my head enough. So the same is true in the business frame, is that when we get what we call these micro engagement, when we get people to say yes and engage multiple times, by the time you get to the end, when you get to the closing, you're more apt to get a yes at that point too. So that's why these micro commitments in the middle are so important. That's why you're not, the first text is not, hey, what you doing? Here's what I'm doing. It's just, hey, just checking in. Do you need anything from me? Now look at this. What if they say, yes, I do. Right. So now you're getting the are you still interested in, or at this point, if you don't know are you still doing XYZ? Yeah. Yes, I am. I got an idea that may be able to help you or put money in your pocket. This, in the business world, the language is very easy for me because people always need either leads, they need more money, they need more time. So I'm able to always say that I got an idea that can help you make more money with your business. That's like, think about that. I always have that in my vest pocket and say, well, I got an idea that might be able to help you make more money. What business owner is going to tell me no, right? You don't want to make no more money, Nadine? You'd be like, see, right, if I say, Nadine, I got an idea that maybe it could make you some more money, you probably say, okay, tell me, like, you want to talk about it? You got 5 minutes? You see what I mean? See how easy that is? That's how I want you to.
I got 10 minutes.
Right. See, it should be very conversational. So I did that because I want you to think about when you're doing your text. I don't want you to come off like a robot. I want you to come off saying, hey, Lynette, how you doing? Then they're going to reply, you need anything? Hey, I was just thinking about you, Lynette. How you doing? I'm doing good. Blah, 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 blah. Are you still interested in government contracting with IT, whatever? Yeah, I am. I've been thinking about this. Well, I got a couple of ideas. You got about 5 minutes. I could either share it with you. I can shoot you a 1-minute video. So you see how you've gotten this engagement going. And then now once you get them there, that final big piece, if you can't close them, which probably depending upon the price point, right? If let's say you're doing a deal and it's something where you can make a quick $500, you may not even need to do a Zoom or anything like that. So, but when you start getting into higher tickets, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 or higher, that requires a conversation. They're going to talk to you. They're going to look you in your eye to make sure you're real. that you ain't getting ready to run off with the money and all of that type of stuff. So the higher the price point is where after everything I told you, now after they've said yes, now you get into the point, well, let's do a quick Zoom. And now at that point, I'm no longer selling. I'm just answering objections, just like I just asked you all at the end of this. Is there any questions that you have? And they're like, well, so they'll probably say no, or yeah, I got a question. Okay, what's your question? And you just answer the question. You don't dodge them. You answer all of the objections. And here's the one thing that you want to start practicing on. And it really just happens with practice. As I said earlier, implementation is that you really just got to get into this so that you'll know what the objections are, what people are going to ask you if they're going to give you money. What's going to happen, Lynette, if I sign up with you? What's going to happen, or how long is it going to take? So now you got to prepare yourself to answer objections. But at the end of all of those objections, then I get to the point, well, and I've said this over and over again, maybe you all have heard me, but I'll say it again. So I don't ask, are you ready to sell or not? None of that. So you ready to start working together? They only got two, write that one down, because that's a cold-blooded response. That is you want to trap them up. You want to make sure that you get your response. You ready to start working together? They only have two responses to that. Yes. Yes. How do I get started? That's when you send them that link. That's when you send the agreement, if an agreement is required. If they say no, okay, so then why did I not answer all of the questions? Yeah, I got more questions. Okay, well, what questions are there? Let me answer them all. And sometimes, and again, I don't want to go too far because it shouldn't be this deep on these type of deals, but if you're doing bigger deals, I would always ask, are you the main person, or do I need to speak to you and your wife, or you and your husband? If it's that type of deal, because I don't want to have to repeat myself. And then I don't want to rely on you to go and tell them exactly what it is that I said. So I'd rather get both parties. Yeah, do you have a business partner? But I would ask this a long time ago, even before we got to this point. It would be like, is it just you, or do you have a business partner? I can get on the phone with both of you. In fact, I got one next week. The woman was shocked when she said, well, I got these other people. I said, well, no problem. I get on the phone with all three of y'all. Y'all can triple team me. I don't care. But you want to be there so that you can answer the question, answer the objection, and then I can get them all right there in that same thing. Well, y'all ready to start working together? And chances are they're going to be nodding their head just like you doing. They didn't be like, yeah, okay. Then what's the next step? Well, I'll send you an email with the agreement and the invoice, and we can get started. We'll set up another Zoom call after that. And it's really that simple. So now I want to open up for your questions on this, because again, we can keep going, and then that's when we'll start getting to the slope about the bigger consulting practice. And I don't want to do that. I just want you to get some income now with this model. Any questions?
Question my face. So being I talk to a lot of women and caregivers on different topics. I make appointments one-on-one. I did, and being a consultant, because I look at pretty much it's like consulting and coaching can go alongside one another, correct?
Mhm.
But I know consulting is I'm coming alongside with you and helping you with consulting. Now, would you suggest that you take a class or get certified and becoming a consultant?
No, yeah, you kind of got on late, and I probably didn't mention that anyway. I think that's the other thing that stops people, is that the way that we think consulting is, I think you missed the first part when I said the reason a lot of us don't get into the consulting arena is because the visions that we have of consultants is that they were, on New York or Wall Street up in, the 28th floor in white suits, and they all got degrees and they're certified and all of those different types of things. And nothing could be further from the truth. No, you don't need any certificate. And now I say that knowing that there are some areas, some industries that require certifications or require certain types of degrees, right? And if you have those, fine. But if you don't, they're not necessary. And so I'm gonna say something with probably with the possibility that they can go into a further conversation about a bigger business. But remember earlier when I said that you could possibly even be a consultant and not even know or have the skill set to deliver the deliverables or the results. And I'll give you an example. I know what Anitra does. Anitra is like a virtual manager. She does you do a lot. She does a lot of things, right? So there's nothing that would stop me from going out getting someone who needs some internet marketing work, developing a package, and then subcontracting to Anitra, right? See what I mean? So that's when you start getting, that's why I didn't want to go down, because that's when you start getting into teams where all you need to know how to do is just, if you know how to get the deal, there are people that'll do the work and then you can get money. So no, you don't have to be certified. I don't recommend it. In fact, I think because you're not going to find too many consulting programs or anybody that's going to certify you to teach you to pull out your phone the same way that I did. They're probably going to teach you the opposite. They're going to say, well, you need to get an office space. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And now you're back to where you started when I said, don't do none of that. So one of us is wrong. Either that professor who's never did it or Brother Bedford who's done it a little bit. So one of us is wrong. So no, just to answer your question directly, no, you don't have to get certified, but I do know that you're in an arena where that could go a long way. But I wouldn't recommend it for you, because here's the other thing, you have experience. We're in an era right now, nobody asks, do you have letters behind your name? It's almost irrelevant now. It used to be important. Now, 20 years ago, all of the BAs, MAs, MSs, MFs, and whatever you can put behind your name, it added to your credibility. Nowadays, people just want to know, can you help me? So even in your space, they just want to know, Nadine, can you help me? Have you helped people like this before? Can you help me? And then they'll want to do it. So no, and then just to your first point, just to make sure that it's crystal clear again, because you weren't on, coaching is more so you telling people what to do. Mm-hmm. Consulting, as I mentioned, is you doing it with them. And some consultants do it for them. As you heard my explanation, I just don't recommend that. You can, some of you can offer I'm not sure. I think the only one, you're in a prime position, you, Anitra, and you, Lynette, you all could offer packages where it's done for you, packages in the technology space, because they have technology type of business. So they can put together packages that they do the work for them. And there's just some consulting where they check in, and it could still work. But when you're dealing with your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and you're more so in an advisory capacity, you're probably going to be, you're going to make more money doing it with them. And two, I found that that's the way to get the best results. I mean, I think Anitra and Lynette both raised their hand when I said, have you done for you packages? And then you find yourself chasing people, trying to do the work, and nothing it gets crazy. You do the work and then they don't like the work, and you're like, well, hell, you wasn't here to help me do it in the first place. So you kind of deal with all those. So it's done with you. So consulting is advising and doing it with them. And that does involve some coaching. I'm not excluding coaching, but if you're just using the coaching model, coaching is normally you getting on the phone and telling them what to do after you've heard whatever their situations are. Me personally, I've taken that to the next level. I call that advising. I don't even call it coaching as much. It's still coaching, but again, this positioning is everything. I said it earlier. We'll talk about this some more later. I don't want to go too far on this. I don't want to get off subject, but the better you position yourself, you make more money from who you are and what you know. More than what you do. The doing, the labor intensive work is becoming less and less valuable because there's so many people who can do it. But not everybody can advise. Not everybody can coach. Not everybody can come up with strategies. Not everybody has experience. Again, in the education space, having 30, 40, 50 years or whatever in an education space or certain type of training, and to be able to take that now and shrink what would be fit. I think Tony Robbins has a statement, condense decades into days. When we're in the consulting business or the advising business, we're literally condensing decades of our learning and our experience in today's for our clients. Remember, it's not, they're getting all of this tomorrow. What took Nadine 25 years, the ups and downs, the hard knocks, I'm getting ready to give that to you in an hour. That's valuable.
That's valuable.
Or you can go ahead and you can do it the hard way and I'll see you in 10 years. You're gonna learn it one way or the other. Makes
That's
sense?
what,
Jeanette?
that was my question about that product, because the way you described it, it just seems like, okay, it's straightforward and easy, because when you send, he say yes, whatever the problem is, then you turned around and send him, the product. And I'm thinking, there's going to be time in there, depending on what they say to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what the problem is, you may have to, like you say, partner with Anitra, or, so that's where I run into the issue is, what I should offer.
Good question.
When.
Good question. No, I'm glad you asked that. And that the reason I left that kind of blank is because everybody offers different things. That's why I didn't want to dive too deep in. And I'm picking on Lynette a little bit because of her industry. And we've talked about this before, but I already know that everybody has different things that they can offer. Here, let me pull out some notes here that I have. I mean, you can help people with processing, systems. Matter of fact, just tell me, let's just be specific so we don't waste a lot of time. Jeanette, what is it that you do? Real quick.
You just hit on it.
What is it?
Process improvement.
See, so I mean, literally you offer, so your clients would be people who need their processes improved. How do you improve their processes normally? Right now, currently, how do you do it?
Well, right now, I'm just retired from federal government.
Okay.
So, it's like, I want to empower or help businesses go to the next level. But first I need to know, where they are and what is their next level.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, okay, so once I know what that is, then I go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like I can right now have something in general, because I'm working to see what type of problems there are, so that I can have a template for this, that, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I do with our businesses, Black businesses, I'm very interested in improving their processes, whatever it may be. But in order to do that, I would need to come in and you need to tell me your process from end to end.
Mm-hmm.
And once I know that, then I can help you improve.
Mm-hmm. See, now I'm glad you said it. This is real good. I've had several clients like yourself that are very sophisticated in processes from, what is it, lean, all of those different processes. Yeah, all of that type of stuff to help business owners. The challenges when you target. So even the client, I think I even shared this with you all before, Alicia, grab her book real quick. Behind the Facade. We wrote it. So remember when I was talking about, I wrote the book, we did that with her with this. And this is a meaty book though, but it's all about business infrastructure. She has a podcast too of the same thing, how to structure company operations for sustainable success, right? But her clients, I got to be honest with you all, is majority white folks, right? So that's the challenge.
No problem with their money.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing when you start getting into the sophistications of business. The only ones who have companies and things like that understand that, or that are at those phases, are a lot of in her case, I think she's dealing with a lot of tech companies and things like that. Manufacturing companies are heavily into processes and things like that. So when you're dealing with us, for you'd have to keep in mind that you need to think of remember when I said earlier, a foot in the door strategy, what is the basic system or process that most Black businesses need? Now, in my case, because in the same vein with you, and probably you too, Anitra, for myself, it was lead generation. I knew that they needed to know how to generate leads. So that's why it was easy for me to say, well, we need to come with a lead magnet. We need a landing page. So that was the first process that I introduced them to. And then now we can start talking about other things. Now, in your case, as you mentioned, You're going to either have to find the businesses, so your marketing is critically important, that are already seasoned enough to where, as you mentioned, they have processes in place and all you're doing is come, or they just have a bunch of stuff going on and they don't have it organized and they need processes and systems. And you're able to explain that to them by simply saying, hey, are you still interested in cleaning up your systems? I think I might have a couple ideas that might be able to help you, or some processes that might be able to help you with that. And then that's when you go in. You going in asking the questions, the way that you mentioned it earlier, that's going to be difficult because most of us don't know. We don't know that we don't know. So that's why it becomes a catch-22. You're going to have to focus on the right types of businesses that are probably doing over $1 million, right? We start getting into understanding processes. When we get over $1 million, then all of a sudden we say, damn, I'm making $1 million, but I'm spending out 200,000 on, we're wasting money, or we don't see the profit. So then you got to get processes come in to streamline what we're doing. Okay, so here's how we generate leads. Here's how we follow up. Here's our sales team. Here's the scripts, right? So then we can start getting into it. But for that first phase, we hustle. And it's very difficult to have that conversation unless you create it. Now, that's why, so now I said I didn't want to go into the business type of stuff, but I'm gonna have to because you asked the question. But that's why positioning is important for someone like you. You'd have to create the environment and the conversation. So you would need a book, you would need a podcast if you're trying to deal with the masses of us, right? Because that now you got to start educating us on what we need. You got to explain the pain that we're having. You got to point out the pain. People got to hear it. They got to say, ouch. And then you got to say, okay, I can help you with that, right? So you got to be out there educating on, and that's what she did. That's what we had to do her. Look, she has this book. We ran it up to bestseller, and all of her podcast episodes are from people who are, and she called it back office blues. So it's the stuff that ain't sexy, that don't nobody pay attention to, but all of the people who are in the back office, who know the filing systems, the tax systems, and all of that is messed up. Those are the ones that listen to her show. But if I ask some others to listen to her show, be like, I ain't listening to that. It's boring to them. It's not exciting. So you can do it.
I'm laughing and smiling about it because I've already had this conversation with Lynette. I am in the middle of writing a book, and I talked to Lynette and told her I will be ready to start my podcast in January. So here we go.
There you go. Yeah, but in the interim. So now think about it though. So now think about the strategy that I shared with you today though. 20, 40, maybe even 50 people who have that issue that you can contact through the phone. See, you have to create the environment. Say, hey, Jim, are you still interested in, are you still having challenges with your business, your business systems? Or you probably know people who are firing people, you know what's going on. You just got to begin to contact them to have those conversations. It's more intimate. It's definitely more direct. And you may not even be in this situation. So that's probably, some people who are in the situation where you need to generate income. That's why you need to think of doing it this way. If you have time to build out a platform like what you're doing, right? If you're going to do the podcast, you're writing a book. See, she already said, she said in January. How many months is that away?
3.
I mean, that's 3.
Around the corner.
It's around the corner, but then it's not right around the corner. So for instance, if somebody needs to make some money next week, they can't wait till January to launch the podcast.
Exactly.
They gotta say, okay, who do I know that has these issues that now I can start texting or emailing them or Facebook messaging them or hitting them on LinkedIn and letting them know about these ideas you have. Now, the other thing that you can do is think of, and we'll move on real quick, but you can think of a package that you think is, that's universal, and then just put together a package and then just sell that package. And don't deviate away from that, because like the challenge, what you said is that you don't know what their problems are until you go in and see that it's very difficult to have that conversation. You're going to have to initiate the conversation either with offering them a package that solves one problem first, and then begin to, because once you're in and you develop the relationship, now you can begin to talk to the business owners, the managers, or whomever about all of the myriad of issues that they would have in their business. But until you do that, you either need one package, which what we call a foot in the door strategy. I gave you one that I did, and I just said it to you. If I wanted to work with you longer term on bigger projects to help you build your personal brand and all, the first thing I would say, my foot in the door strategy with you would be, okay, we don't need to do the podcast first. Let's write the book first, just like what you said. So that's the foot in the door strategy. So with your business, you got to think about what is the foot in the door? What is the one thing that I can get into these businesses with that they need my help with, that I can solve quickly? That's the other key. I'm not trying to make you work like a Hebrew slave. I want you to go into the business with what you know you can solve. They're having it, it's a problem for them, but it's easy for you, right? Something that you can go in real quick and solve. You make the money, and now you become, now think about it, you become their consultant. I didn't even talk about monthly retainer. We was talking about this on office hour. Now imagine you going into some of these companies or businesses or whomever, and all of a sudden you help them with the problem. And now you say, well, you know, I can be on retainer to help you solve problems like this, or to help you improve for, you know, this would be $1,000, but then $500 a month. You got me on retainer to help you with your processes, right? Or $250 a month, whatever it is for you. I want y'all to think about these numbers. It don't take much. You get a few clients paying you $500 a month. You in the, you're in the black.
So I have a question in reference to that. So since Jeanette and I talk often,
Okay.
we're getting ready to send an email this evening, actually, when we finish, over to a potential, we're trying to form an alliance with, I guess we can say it, with the company here locally, the New Black Wall Street marketplace. And we already know, and she's already serviced them, and we already know that they have process issues. It's obvious to us as the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So they told us, in order to speak to the, basically to get around the, what they call the gatekeeper, we have to talk to a couple of other people first to tell them what our idea is. And I said that before you even said it, Brother Bedford. I said to them, I have some ideas that I want to collaborate with you guys to see if we could help you. And I kind of took what you had said to the help. And so what we call the gatekeeper said, okay, that sounds interesting. Send me an email. You'll have to send it to me, my wife, and then the IT director, and then giving us some, I guess, bullet points, pretty much outlining what we want to pitch to them. And so the question is, well, how do you just put a one-liner and entice them enough to basically get through to them so that we can get to the main person, as opposed to the
Yes, that is.
Well, part of it, that part of the email did say, send him an outline.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was the foot in. And so that's what we're getting ready to email tonight, the outline of services, unless there's something else that we should do instead. So.
Okay. Yeah, see, this is a bigger consulting deal. Do you have a range of how much? Do you know what they got in their budget?
I'd like to know.
No, we don't know yet. We hadn't talked.
Do
like
they
to get a
have any
piece of
money?
it.
I mean, do
Oh,
you
yeah.
all think, I mean, realistically, I want you to think about this.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they got money.
They got money, because I'm telling you, I don't work with I done been around a bunch of companies, especially the nonprofits, boy, and and you get to digging a little deeper, and you go through all of this, putting together proposals, jumping through hoops, this gatekeeper, this gatekeeper, this gatekeeper. And then you say, well, okay, this $500. Like, oh, no, that's too much. You're like, what do you mean it's too much? So you just got to be careful that you don't spend too much time. So here's what I would do if I were you all, or at least think about doing. Because again, it sounds like a bigger deal. And if you say that they got money, what is their biggest issue? What is the most pressing problem that they have? I will focus on the one problem and see where that goes. Because what it sounds like, you're getting ready to get into a lengthy back and forth. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. So let's make sure that this is clear. Remember when I said this is like, there's the business consulting practice. That's what this is getting into. This is getting into the business of it to where it can take longer. What I wanted to do and what I initially said was that we were trying to find a way to get money quickly, right? To get your first deal done by dealing with people that you know have some issues. But if you're going to go into that back and forth with them,
Well, this may be, pie in the sky, but I just figured we saw several issues, several problems that we recognized. And we just wanted to propose a solution.
What's the biggest problem that they have? Do you know what is the one that's causing them the most pain, where they're losing the most money, where they're having an issue that you've observed?
Customer service. Servicing the people that they pull in. It's like they get the people to come, but then they can't control what happens when they get there.
Yeah, I would focus on that. I would focus on one problem. I would give them, because again, and then I would leave the door open for all of the other ideas. But I wouldn't get started with analyzing their business. Really, because think about it, they're telling you, give us some ideas. I mean,
well, no.
I'm saying you probably just said it. There's a whole bunch. You probably write a book on all of the stuff they need. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
So what happened was we went to several events, and then Jeanette served several times. Okay, so she was able to see other things that I couldn't see. I was able to see a whole lot of other things that would be some process improvement when it comes to technology. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted to do was kind of get a meeting with the head, honcho, but they said, you can't just go straight to him. You got to go through them first. So I said to them, I have some ideas that I'd like to, speak to you, to the main contact about. And I was wondering, in what way should I do that? And at first I just said, hey, can you give me the contact information? I knew he was going to say no. I did that on purpose, just to see if they would engage. And then he said, well, that's not the way it's done. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I apologize. Well, how is it done? And so therefore that gave them a way to say, okay, what you need to do is this. And that's how we were just chatting each other on Mighty Network, through the platform. Yeah.
I mean, you could keep chatting with, obviously you've already started some communication. I think you can send them an email. I mean, because I definitely wouldn't want it. You've already started that process. I would just see where it can go. But as I said, I would keep in mind to focus on one problem first and then solve that problem and then become their consultant for the rest of the problems. If you try to do them all, one, it could overwhelm them. Mm-hmm. Everybody always, people always say, I want to know the truth until you tell them the truth. And it's like, oh, why you give me all of this? So I would find the most pressing issue that you've all discovered. And I would give them an idea to solve that and how you can do it. And they may even ask you, well, what about the others? They'll say, well, we need to probably get the first. George Fraser always told me, first things first, second things never. I would even tell them that if I was talking to them, I'd be like, well, I was taught that if you focus on too many things, you don't get nothing done. So let's do first things first. We accomplish that, and whatever is second will come up to being first. So let's just start knocking down the myriad of issues that we see. But here's the most pressing issue. That's how I would approach it, so that you can keep everything, singularly focused and not have to worry about a bunch of stuff. Now, I do want to say something, because you did say something. One of the reasons I had her write this book, you know what she does when she wants to get past the gatekeepers? She sends this book as a gift through Amazon to the CEO. Mm-hmm. So think about what you could send as a gift. So I want you to think about that. Nobody can open up his Amazon delivery. He's going to get this gift from you, where you can say, hey, and I'm just using when she signs the book and say, I got some ideas about how we could probably implement some of these things in your business. Let me know if you want to do it. So there's a way to get around the gatekeepers, because the gatekeepers don't know what the hell they're talking about. I got to be honest with you. You all in here, so I got to be direct with you, because they don't. Sometimes you showing up makes them obsolete. You know how many times people done tried to block me from getting to people because they know that by me being there, they out of a job or potentially out of a job. They don't see me as help. They see me as a threat. So you always got to be mindful of that when you're dealing with these people, because I don't want them to string you all along, you know, forever when you probably could help. So that's why I would focus on the one thing and see how they respond.
That sounds good. But what we were going to include in the email was a list of our services, but and then, you know, so they will know. But that's a great idea that you gave us, you know, because then we can also include, you know, what that one issue that we can help you with.
Yeah, I would drill down on that. It's like this. I had to go to the dentist a couple of weeks back. I think I mentioned it to the people in the group. And she's like, oh, well, we can get you back. I said, no, I got a toothache now. I need this thing worked on now. And say, okay, we got to do that now. And we'll talk about all of the other stuff later. You got to find that toothache. I mean, to be very blunt, you have to find the toothache, or you're going to drift into bureaucracy. And that's what I'm hoping.
What if they don't know they have a toothache?
They got it. They know it. They know it. Hey, don't you know your toothache?
Yeah.
You ain't probably gonna tell everybody, but you know it. But here's the thing: when somebody else can diagnose, see, I didn't even go over this part. The persons who get the biggest deals are the people who can diagnose the problem better than anybody else. So if you are able to show up in a business and show them where their tooth hurt and they know it hurt, they're gonna be like, how's she know? Yeah, this is the dentist here. She come and she touched that nerve right away. So that's your job. That's what, again, that's how I want you to think as consultants. That's what we do. We discover the issue, the pain point, and then we offer the solution. That's why we get paid the big bucks. That's why the dentists get paid. There's no negotiating with the dentist, is it? It's like, okay, yep, we got to do this. Here's the bill. You'd be like, well, damn, you can't. You want it out? It gets to that. So that's how you want to view yourself as a consultant. You're coming in as the dentist, as the doctor, and both of you see, unbeknownst to them, you two have been able to diagnose several problems. Now you two just need to come together. What is the one that you know is that if you put the finger on, they say, ouch. And that's where I would focus. And of course you can do all of the rest, but I'm telling you, when you start listing a smorgasbord of services, it takes longer. It's almost like when you've heard the term, a confused mind never buys, right? And here's what's gonna happen. They're going to see something in this package. They're going to see something in this package. Well, what if we did this? Well, can we do this over here? And does it have to be this much? And if we do this and do this, can we get a price rate? And then you two, y'all going to get free. You'll be like, what the hell is these people doing? What are they doing? So you got to go in and say, here's your problem right here. You got all of these people coming here. You have no database, whatever it is, because you say they don't know what to do with the people. You have to show them, here's your pain point. And for me, what works best, and probably for people like Anitra and her line of work, is when you can correlate whatever they're missing with the dollars. Man, do you know you had 500 people come through here and you haven't even kept in contact with them? And if y'all had a product, and you would probably know whatever they sell, membership, whatever, and it's $100, and that's 500 people, and you've missed them, that's $100 times 500 people. How much money is that? That's $50,000, right? That's how you have to talk to them. And so that's how I talk to people. You done had 500 people come to your website. You had 40 people sign up. That means you left 460 people didn't sign up because you didn't have a good lead magnet. Do you know if you had a good lead magnet with just decent copy, you can probably have a 15 to 20% conversion rate. So instead of just those 40 people, you have 200 people. Now you got a $97 product. So now that's 200 people times, let's just say $100 to round up. I say that's, it's $20,000 you're leaving on the table. And you're only paying me $5 to fix it. You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Can we get you to come on and do our talking?
Let's make
No,
it
I'm
3.
giving you you got the video. You got the video. And that's how you have to talk.
Going to this meeting.
Yeah, that's how you have to, and that's your job, but that's why you prepare. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That's why I want you to, that's why I told you don't send out the email until after you got off this call. Remember, Lynette, I said, don't send until you got some of these scripts that you can go through and put it into your own words so that you can, you're prepared for, and the next phase for you all is the object. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I do like the fact that you all are talking about collaboration, because sometimes it's harder doing this stuff by yourself, but if you can collaborate, you can get some deals done, because now you have more skill sets that you can bring to the table. But even with the more skill sets, your job is to not be lured into trying to offer a buffet of services, not initially. You got to find that one thing. Even when I'm talking to people, and I know they need 100 different things, right? I have to be the disciplined one to say, you know what? We need to focus on this, because we start talking about all this other stuff. Because some of the stuff that we offer other people, it appeals to them, but it doesn't make good business sense. Right? I think you were alluding to this not too long ago too, Anitra. There are people who come to you and they want what they see on social media, and then you got to kindly pull them in and say, but you need to do this first, or else it doesn't make sense. You got to do this and this and this. So it's our job that's why we're the consultants. That's why we should get paid the big bucks. Make sense? That's why you should be, and think about it, everything that you just told me, the package that you put together should be at least a $3,000 package. And I'm just going off of what you told me. If they're getting people, if they got issues, if they got money, if they're making money, $3,000. And again, I'm just throwing this out because I just don't want you all to shoot yourself in the foot, come back with, $500 to solve this. No, not from what you all just told me. And that's my point. So you need time to make sure that you put together the package and the conversations. I don't know, Jeanette, if you saw the earlier conversation, because I did talk about some of this on the other videos with Lynette, is that's why you asked them for their budgets. What is, I need, so that I put together a package for you. I'm not putting together packages and then you just choose. Tell me what your budget is, and then let me put something together for you. I can customize something for you that can help you with your issues. And then they'll tell you, well, and then sometimes the first thing they're going to push back and say, well, what is it going to take? We need to know what you charge. Say, well, no, I need to give me a range so that I can put together something for you. I want to make sure that it works for you. Because I mean, I could charge you 100,000, but would that work for you? No. So what are you working with so that we can put something together? Everything's negotiable, especially in the consulting. That's why I want you to make sure that you keep everything that we're talking about, make sure that it stays fluid, because it's negotiable. Even when I said 3,000, I wouldn't be mad if you come back and say, well, Brother Bedford, we are just doing something that only take us about 2 hours to do, and it's $2,500. And then plus we're meeting next week to see if we can help them with this other thing. Right? So then now you off and running. So now you use that same thing. What other companies need that same problem done? So now you get 2 to 3 companies. Now you're making $7,500, $10,000 a month. Right? Makes sense. Melanie, you have any questions? We done went over, but you have any questions?
No, I don't, but I went to the dentist today and that's exactly what happened.
Say that again.
Poked around and hit that pressure point and that was it. I said, look, I know this is going to cost me about $2,000, so I'll think about it and I'll come back. But she did exactly what you said.
Really? Good.
Yep, exactly.
It works.
Yes.
This stuff works. It ain't me. I mean, this is stuff that's been proven for years, but we just have to get comfortable or at least used to these types of processes. And again, nothing, because even though y'all got that one email, go through the list. Matter of fact, if that's the perfect template for you, that type of company, then compile the list of the next 10 companies like that. And it may take 10 companies, 20 companies to get those first 2 to 3 clients. But again, if you do it right, you get those first 2 to 3 clients, $1,000 down, $500 per month to work. Now you got client. Now you got cash flow. Now you can start building. And that's the whole design of what we were talking about tonight, is just generating the income. Some of the other things that you all were talking about is still, if you go further with that, you have to start working on positioning. I just didn't want to get into that conversation because, you know, you can write books, do podcasts. I even asked you all about public speaking. That's how you begin to build up your positioning so that you can do some different things with your consulting practice. You know, you can hold, instead of now sending them an email, see if you all were positioned differently. What about saying, okay, we're going to invite several companies to a Zoom to talk about ABCD. And now at the end of that Zoom presentation, now you're offering your package. Now you get 3 to 4 companies say, yeah, I want that package. You know, we can pay $3,000 a month for that package. See, but that's a different conversation that takes a little bit different work. I just didn't want to go into all of that tonight. Tonight, I just wanted to say, look, get in that phone, get them 100 names, get those 10 to 20 people. And try, here's the beautiful part. This last part I'll say, unless y'all got another question. If you develop the right type of package or product, even if it's a year-long product, remember with consulting, the reason a lot of people make the mistake of trying to get something on the front end, I love doing deals where it's like, okay, well, we can do $1,000 here, $1,000 a month over the year, 12-month deal. That's a $12,000 deal, but it only probably take you about an hour or two a month. Right. So, that's that you start accumulating those types of things. And then before you know it, all you need, man, is 10 of those. Just 10. You're over 6 figures. And you're probably only working 15, 20 hours a month. Again, depending upon what we're talking about technology. And so I'm looking at a lot of us, some of us have things that we can, get it going, initiate it, and it's going to work. Like I know Anitra, she can put up a landing page that's going to work. She ain't got to keep, all she got to do is check on it every now and then. So there's some things that you can put in place. It doesn't require a lot of work, or, you build communities or something that doesn't require a lot of work, a couple hours a month. But if it's packaged right, it can be great income. In this model, I always tell people at least shoot for 20 people at $5,000.
Okay, I have a question, and I'm trying to stay where you're at, Brother Bedford.
But you trying to take me over into that other arena? I know.
I have to take you over just a little
It's
bit.
hard. It's hard because it's connected. I mean, to be honest, it's connected because what we covered is really like the start. And then we go into a lot of the other stuff that we've been covering. So go ahead, Anitra. I don't mind. Go ahead. Okay,
so have you ever found in your consulting where, for example, I had a client and they asked me if I could, because I'm the techie person and they're not, if I could take a call. It was a technical call for software as a service. They had a SaaS that they were thinking about. And so I jumped on the call and I'm listening because what they wanted to know was, should I purchase this SaaS? And so I listened to it and I was like, I made a good judgment call based on the information I had of the client and then the software as a service. But did you run into that being a consultant? Have you ever really got on
and kind of help them make a decision about something else? Yeah, I do it a lot. I have no problem, to be honest with you, I have no problem with it. I've learned, and this is just me, because I know sometimes when you're in the coaching space, we kind of, how can I say this? We kind of count the dollars differently. Some people get into, my time is worth XYZ, or my knowledge is worth XYZ, so I don't do XYZ. It's just, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but that's just never been my way. My way is, the more I put in, the more I get out. It's just really that simple for me. So even with a client, I want you to think about this. So when you do stuff like that, that's like in planting a seed. And you'll find that same client, either you can do something else where there'll be a big payday at the end of it, or they'll refer someone. It never fails for me. So is that kind of like what you're asking? Like, would you do that extra type of things like that? Just analyze stuff like that? Yeah, I do it all the time, man. And it pays big dividends for me. And I never add, it goes back to the networking principle that we initially studied, that George talked about. Once you embrace the desire to serve, and you do it in this capacity, and especially if they're already a paying client, I can always do extra for them. In fact, I love to do extra for paying clients. You know, that's the undercharge, over, what do you know? Under, you know what I'm saying? Over, it's getting late. Over promise, under promise, over deliver. It comes out of that mode, but I found I either get a referral, and the referrals be more than, so imagine if you were charging them for that. What would you charge for something like that?
Probably around 250, because it'd be like an add-on. It just depends.
Yeah. So, but then what if, so then now, what if, let's just say you see, and this is where strategy comes in. You plant the seed with her or him, whoever it was. You know, I'm thinking about opening up some more space in my program towards the end of the year. And I'm looking for people who are just like you know, some referrals. So if you know of anybody, or maybe they catch you just talking about it, or you post about it, and then she brings you another, I don't know what her value is to you now as a customer, but let's just say a couple $1,000. So you can either get to $250 on the front end, or she could bring you a $5,000 client. That's the way I've always looked at it. So and I've done it numerous times. You're talking to one person, for instance. So what if Melanie loves me so much that she says, you know what, you need to come on over there and join the mob. I think it's about $1,000 now, but it is going to be going up. But then that person comes over, and this has happened recently, and they come on and say, well, you know what, I like the mob, but I want to work with you for the year. So then here's a person that I'm giving my all to Melanie, then Melanie recommended him, and Melanie probably saying, well, okay, this is just, you know, this is what we do. That's $1,000. But then this person ends up saying, you know what, I'm ready to cut the $15,000 check. All because being good to Melanie for an extra 15K, right? So that's the way I think about it. Long as it doesn't take me, you know, long as they're not taking you off your square and pulling you into directions. You train your clients though. I had a client who texted me out to Clear Blue Sunday. Can you talk Monday or Tuesday? I hadn't responded yet. It's deliberate. No, I can't jump on the phone today like that. We have a pattern. We know how we do this. You shoot the NBL, we get the calendar. I say, it ain't changed. It ain't changed. So I'm waiting till tomorrow morning. And then I'll say, well, we can do something towards the end of the week. And everything will be fine. But you do have to train your clients like that. Does that help? Is that helpful?
That helped. It helped a lot because I was able, and sometimes we don't think about this, but I was able to make an additional connection through.
There you go. That's my point. There you go. Yeah. And here's the thing, trust me, and you can tell when you do stuff like, so you're already moving on to bigger and better deals, right? I saw the picture with you in August. That was a beautiful picture. So, I mean, it pays the dividends come. You don't even want, you really want to get to the point where you're not even, anything that's like an add-on, those type of thing, $100, $250, it ain't worth you anyway. So I would never, you don't even want to get to the point where you're stressing over, man, am I going to charge her? If you got to ask yourself, am I going to charge her $100 for this or not? You already know, damn, why am I as charged? Right? You know, you just let that go. That's a courtesy. And of course, what you do, again, it's up to us to create the environment to make sure that they know that though. This is outside of the scope of the original agreement. But you know what? For you, for you, you know, I'll make this concession and I'll do it for you. And so now they know, oh man, you know, Anitra, she did this for me. She helped me pick this up. We got to serve, you know what? Now the pressure or the onus is on them. What can I do to repay Anitra for this? I mean, because this is good stuff. I'm telling you, I make people feel guilty. You don't want to give Brother Bedford everything I'm giving. You don't want to give me $10. Shame on you. You should be ashamed of yourself that you want to give Brother Bedford $10. So that's why you got to kind of just position it like that. I hope that makes sense. That makes sense. Anybody else? Because I know we're over. I promise you I'm going to be respectful of your time. Was this helpful tonight?
Yes.
This, trust me, I don't drop that phone strategy. Please do not, again, you can use it on the Facebook, you can use it on LinkedIn. Please do not discount the value of that. I can guarantee you, you get 6 figures or more in your phone. It's just a changing the perception, just changing the thinking pattern. And I'm telling you, you're really going to see it when you start writing down the names. You're like, oh man, I forgot all about her. Man, I forgot all about him. Man, I talked to this company in March of last year and I didn't follow up. And then once you engage in this process, I'm gonna tell you, I done seen people do this, and before the presentation was over, $60,000 deal. One guy, he was stuck with negotiations, and because he was trying to sell them a product. Going back to what Jeanette was talking about earlier, he was trying to sell them a product. Then all of a sudden he heard about the consulting. He was like, well, damn, I ain't never thought about entering into a consulting agreement. Before the event was over, he went out and texted the guy, hey, I was just thinking about something. I got an idea that may be able to help your business. Guy shot back, well, what do you think it's worth to you? I don't know. We got budget $60,000 for that. Deal, let's go ahead and get it done. That was before it was over. Just got in the phone and started texting, $60K. So please do not underestimate these things that we're sending. And if it's not your phone, it's your LinkedIn connections. If it's not your LinkedIn connections, it's your Facebook. And trust me, it's the ones that's the most quiet who are watching you. And sometimes I tell all of you all, if you really want to see some other, I mean, all of them, I ain't gonna say all, but I got a lot of my friends on, I tell people, you should be friends with me just so that you can see the friends that I got. There's a lot, because so many millionaires. And I'm like, why you ain't, there go Marquell, there go George Frazier, there go Dr. Kier. Why ain't you trying to connect? Again, just don't use it right. I mean, I don't do it like, I'm like, okay, we friends. And I text somebody, I said, if it was you and Nisha, I'd be like, we got common people, right? So we need to build that relationship. So I'm off the soapbox, unless Nadine, because I wanted to give you a chance. Everybody else, and Nadine, did you have a question or anything?
Well, I asked a question earlier, but something
did I answer sufficiently?
You did. This is a quick question. So would you suggest, because I do a lot in the health and wellness field, and it's something that I did for myself, for a transformational process. I started writing about it.
Right.
And I was thinking about just putting it into a book.
Right.
And
what about your other book? Is this the same book, your book that you've been working on?
No, Still Standing is my life. Everything I went through, raising my boys, coming through a lot of things that tried to take me under, but yet I still stand.
How close are you to being done with that?
It's in print.
Yeah, I would relaunch that. Here, when we start talking about, remember when I was talking about positioning?
Yes.
I would relaunch that, do a campaign around Still Standing, and just make it a bestseller on Amazon, and everybody, you can get the mob and we can help you. It only take a few sales to become a bestseller on Amazon, do the digital version like 99 cents. But now you start using that, Nadine Owens, best-selling author, Still Standing. Now that becomes the hub of your platform for all of these other things. So then the next book, a lot of us don't think strategic. So even when you said the book here, the book that you're thinking about now, if you already got one complete, you already got a podcast, start using that as the platform to launch all of the other books.
So, and I was going to ask you this too, without trying to take much of your time, but this is some good stuff. I have, it's a channel on Roku.
I know.
So I was thinking, should I go to podcast? Which one is better?
Yeah, You should do both. I mean, if you already have a channel there, and now here's the thing. Now, if we were talking about the consulting business, this would be
Yeah.
the first module, positioning. And so that's why I don't mind talking to you about it, because this is like the next step. After you try to get a few dollars, now you want to start working on your positioning. You have a channel. Let me tell you something. When you have a channel, if you use Roku and then if you get it distributed to anybody else, you put the same content over on YouTube. Now, when you use that in your positioning, your letters, your emails, whatever it is that you send out, your positioning in terms of getting consulting deals just flip. Do you know, whenever I use conversations with Black millionaires, it's almost like, how are you going to tell me no? How's somebody going to tell me no? I'm the founder and creator of Conversations with Black Millionaires. It could be as insignificant as you want it to be, but don't that sound good? I mean, don't it just, you see what I mean? So your position, well, who have you interviewed? Les Brown, Kathy Hughes, Lisa Nichols, Dr. Frey. So it changes. So the same is true with you. You have a channel, you have your book, you want to start using that in the same way, very strategically, so that when you do your consulting deals, now the price point is not an issue. In fact, you become more valuable the more your platform is, noticeable, or people are aware of it. And so a lot of us have material and we kind of put it out, we kind of haphazardly. And I think that's a big mistake, because even if you don't get a lot of sales, you can still use it very strategically. Matter of fact, put it this way, the media, television and radio, they will not interview you to sell your product or services, but they would interview you because you have a book or a show. And then once I get on there, then I sell my products and services. So they will not interview me to sell any consulting, coaching, or products that I have, but they would interview me to see or to hear about my book, Conversations with Black Millionaires. So you see what I mean? It's a positioning. It allows you to get free media. It allows you to get free publicity. It allows you to send those things out, as I just mentioned to Jeanette and Lynette about if they had these products, how to get past the gatekeepers, to send your book, to send your, as gifts. Here's my gift to you, Mr. Such and Such. Read my book. Maybe it can help your business. And now who do they want to hire? The people who are the gatekeepers that's messing them up, or the person who wrote the book on the subject? So who would they hire? Nadine, they would hire Nadine, who wrote the book, who's the host. So yeah, you should do that book, but I would relaunch the other ones first while you have them, quickly.
Okay.
We can run that to bestseller. I mean, when you're ready, I'm sure do you got a list of 500 friends?
Good gracious, no.
No? Now we got to work on that. We need to get that up. That's what we need to do. But then you got the group, if we all sent out an email or we start just asking, I'm sure Anitra could get 4 to 5 people to pay 99 cents. I could get 4 to 5 people in that. So then now if we sold 50 copies of your downloadable book for just $1.99, again, it's not a money thing, but now you can wear the title of best-selling author. And so now you use that with everything that you're doing there local. We just launched. So now you can tell me, we just relaunched my book, Still Standing. We just hit bestseller on Amazon. Here's what I want to do. Woo, 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 woo. It just changes the conversation. Make sense?
Gotcha. Make a lot of sense.
We'll talk about it more in office hours. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in office hours Thursday. Anybody else?
Gotcha.
Appreciate it. All right, family, this has been good. I hope it's been helpful. If you got any questions, inbox me. If the recording is done rendering tonight, I'll make sure that it's up tonight. If it takes until, a little bit later, it'll be up first thing in the morning. And also the scripting, just those few scripts, I'll make sure that they're below the email, just an overview of what we covered tonight. So you'll have that you can just copy and paste. And then if you want me to, I'll go into my consulting folder and I'll pull out some other scripting. But again, some of it, I just don't want it to go too far as dealing with companies and all that. But I can give you what you want. Just let me know. Okay, just let me know.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody have a good
Brother
evening.
Bedford. I'm
You're
glad
welcome.
I was your inspiration for this.
Oh yeah, you've been a big inspiration, Lynette. You've been a big inspiration.
I've been giving you some results. Thank you so much.
Real soon. Look forward to hearing them. Talk to you all soon.
All right.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.